and welcome to the Web News with our pick of the stories making the online headlines. Coming up on today's show, the campaign to free a journalist jailed in Azerbaijan, 2 women in detention for violating the driving ban in Saudi Arabia, and YouTube celebrates the people and moments that made 2014. An Azerbaijani court ruled last Friday that investigative journalist Khadija Ismailova, a reporter for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, would be detained on charges of inciting a colleague to commit suicide. If convicted, she could face up to 7 years in prison. Her supporters have taken to the web, mounting a social media campaign demanding her immediate release. And campaigning is well underway, with activists using the Free Khadija hashtag, slamming the charges made against the journalist and demanding the authorities in Azerbaijan revoke the ruling. A lot of web users are saying her incarceration illustrates how the political powers that be want to silence journalists and independent media voices in Azerbaijan. Several NGOs have spoken out with similar viewpoints. Organisations like Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International and also Reporters Without Borders are suggesting the allegations made against Khadija Ismailova are false and urge the Azerbaijani authorities to free her at the earliest possible opportunity. And while the majority of campaigning is online, some have also taken to the streets in support of the jailed journalist and demand her release. Demonstrations have been staged in front of Azerbaijani embassies across the globe. In Washington, for example, or in the capital of Moldova earlier on this week, when dozens of protesters gathered in solidarity with Khadija Ismailova. Two Saudi women, Lujan al-Hathlul and Maisa al-Almoudi, were arrested last week for defying the kingdom's female driving ban. Their families have said the authorities finally notified them after several days' silence, saying the 2 women would remain in detention for at least another 25 days. Web users the world over are outraged. There is growing reaction to their incarceration online. Social networkers aren't only criticising the fact that they've been detained for driving, but also the lack of information provided by the government following their arrest. And as Human Rights Watch reports, no charges have been made against them so far, making their imprisonment all the more questionable. Others have taken the opportunity to reach out to the Saudi authorities and urge them to end the ban on women driving and change what they describe as a misogynist law from another age. This Facebook page, called Saudi Women to Drive, draws a parallel between their combat and that of Rosa Parks, who fought for the rights of African Americans in the 1950s. Women's rights is a cause close to the hearts of a lot of Saudi women, and many have braved the ban, taking part in the annual October 26th Saudi Women Driving Campaign, which was launched in 2011. A campaign widely relayed on social media and which has support from web users the world over, as illustrated by this online petition demanding an immediate change in the law, which has garnered over 23,000 signatures. Petro Poroshenko posted a somewhat surreal message to Twitter on Friday, December 5th. The Ukrainian president announced that his newest military advisor is a tiny doll. His tweet has been widely shared, generating a lot of commentary on social networks, with web users making fun of him and expressing their disbelief over these revelations. A lot are saying the head of state must be extremely desperate if he's now looking to a toy for guidance. A winged elephant, a water horse, a half-man, half-scorpion warrior. These are just some of the mythical creatures featured in this infographic. We also learn that some of these fictional beings, like the dragon, are part of the culture of a lot of countries. Others are wholly unique. Take Japan's Kasa Obake, for example, an animated umbrella that jumps around on one leg. You can take a closer look at this anthology of mythical creatures on Veneer.com. British artist Charles Young is building a paper city, one tiny building at a time, each one requiring between 30 minutes and 3 hours work to complete. He uses watercolour paper to make these moving scenes, which include a windmill, a castle and also a merry-go-round. You can see these creations and others in his ever-developing city on paperholm.com. The end of the year is almost upon us, and YouTube has released its annual video celebrating the moments and people that have dominated the sharing site over the past 12 months. Here's the action-packed YouTube Rewind 2014.